Hi, my name is Dr. Laura Nager. I teach at Burney Elementary School in Marietta, Georgia, and I have been teaching for going on 16 years at the same school. And teaching is my third career, and the second place that I was, which was at Sprint Video Conferencing, it was going to be closed down, and I had been doing some training there, and so I thought, well, this is a good way, now that I have kids, to go ahead and go into education and into training. So I went that route. If I could do something else, I'd probably continue to train in corporate America, or go into teaching at as a college professor, since I do have my doctorate. Kids different these days than they were 30 years ago. I'm going to say it's not so much the kids that are different as it is their exposure at home. I think their home life is different. The parenting skills are different. We have a lot of dual parent working situations now than we did 30 years ago. We have a lot more single parent situations than we did 30 years ago without the community support that they used to have more of. So I think it's really more of the way parents are having to deal with day-to-day situations, having homework support and that sort of thing. How was teaching different? I think, again, teaching is different than it was 30 years ago because we have so much more paperwork than we used to have. We basically, every teacher pretty much needs a secretary to keep up with when the latest and greatest piece of paper or document is due to administration. Sometimes we only have like 3 days to fill out a piece of paper that should take us research and to fill it out properly, and we only have a couple of days versus a week, sometimes even less. Let's see, what would I tell a new teacher? I would pretty much say be ready for the paperwork, be ready to be your own secretary, and be prepared for that. I know whenever I was entering into it, just 15, 16 years ago, I did not know there was so much paperwork. Grading is one thing, but I'm talking about administrative type stuff that has to be done and turned in on a daily basis, and keeping up with that versus just having to learn your standards, learn what the kids need, learn about them, and do what's best for them. You also have your time constraint of trying to get in your secretarial duties as well. To help kids learn, I would make sure, I know back in the 90s, in some states, kindergartners, as they were coming in, they would be evaluated. They would have an OT evaluation, which is occupational therapy. They would have vision screenings. They would have vision therapy, which is a little bit different than just going to your optometrist. Those screenings, they would have reading screenings. So if a child happened to be exposed or showing symptoms of dyslexia, then that could be identified and watched and marked and taken into consideration. If the child began to struggle, then they could go back and look at the test results and say, well, this kid was showing some symptoms of a potential dyslexia issue. So I think whenever kids come in, they show up. We don't know what their background might be. Not every child has gone through pre-K. Some of those kids who have gone through pre-K, you would never know they've been through pre-K. So I just think it's a matter of having that 0 to 5 year experience and having just a really good evaluation of their current needs when they come into pre-K versus having to wait 2 or 3 years for a child to struggle with school and become disenchanted with the entire situation of school, and then we try to correct it. I don't think that's right. I think there's a lot of kids who are in our special education system who don't need to be there, because had they had the initial evaluation, things could have been done for them earlier on, instead of waiting until they're in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade to then say, oh, well, they don't know this stuff. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope that works. Thanks.